the snap. Guys, it's been 15 episodes, man. Like it feels like this season's going by fast. We came in here with episode 1 giving our breakdowns before the season even started, and now it's kind of crazy. It's like, man, episode 15. It's like where have the weeks gone? Where have the episodes gone? But yeah, we're gonna get to the rest of the season. We're almost to that halfway mark of the season, so we'll see. The guys, as of right now, I think I've always said that the teams that I mean, by week 7, week 8, you kind of know who's who. Like that's when you start to figure out, like, okay, this team's good, this team's bad. You kind of know where the teams are going to end up. But there's some surprising spots. But like I always say, guys, I'm the Wager Zone, the host. This is your co-host, Hezzy Hybrid. Want to say what's up to the people, Hez?
What up, y'all? Happy hump day. Hope everybody's staying hydrated, useful, not drinking coffee all the time. Um, yeah, man. I just hope that everybody is what is that, Coca-Cola? Oh man, you definitely need some water.
It's
But
okay. It's okay. I got the backup. I got the
that's my boy.
backup.
That's my boy. But yeah, man, everybody, I hope everybody's just staying safe, staying out the way, getting ready for this Halloween.
Yeah, man, Halloween season. That means NBA season's back. If you guys have not gone and checked it out, we do a show called the Lakers Post Up. We break down NBA, mainly the Lakers. We're gonna go do different topics of the NBA, but we're mainly gonna be on the Lakers. And like I always say, guys, before we get into this breakdown, if you guys are here for the first time, if you guys are a returning member, I appreciate you. But if you guys are here for the first time, click that thumbs up, like the video, subscribe, and come back every single week. We do this Wednesdays and we do this almost forgot the day. We do this Wednesdays and we do this Saturdays. We come on here, we give our entire breakdowns. We break down Thursday night football on Saturdays. We come in here, we break down all of the Sunday and Monday on Wednesdays. So, like I said, subscribe and do not miss out after the snap, episode 15. Sorry, guys.
Woo-woo.
First topic we're going to get into. This is probably a hard topic for both of us, honestly, because one, I'm not a Bucs fan, but I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan, and this dude right here has is a Bucs fan. So I'm gonna let him start off this because this is his team. Bucs got dominated by the Lions this past week. They were looking like they were gonna compete for a little bit. I mean, just when the Baker started making those when he scored that first touchdown, in my head I was thinking like, man, here comes the comeback. Comeback Baker, he's about to start it. But then Mike Evans goes down, and Mike Evans broke his collarbone. And Mike Evans is already dealing with the hamstring injury, and now he's going to be out for most of the season. He won't be back until about week 15 at best, week 16. Maybe that's good. Maybe he gets the rest all the way to then. He comes back for the playoffs, so maybe that's a good sign. But we'll get into it real quick. I just want to ask you this before we get into the Mike Evans injury. It's going to be: is this game based on how the Lions looked against the Buccaneers? Was it more of how good the Lions are, or was it more of like the Bucs were just too short-handed to even compete?
Well, for starters, the Lions, they're a very good football team. And, on both sides of the ball for the most part, even though they were kind of banged up in that secondary, which we could have kind of easily took advantage of. But,
Mhm.
uh, so that I can't really take away from them. But as for the Bucks, man, that's been pretty much the whole tale for the season so far is just kind of being shorthanded against opposing teams, but still manages to kind of, just make it work somehow. So, um, now, even though they had a bad game against Detroit, they were just, it it really just wasn't going on our favor. Clearly, we were just getting beaten in every type of way, every down. When we get the ball back, we couldn't move the rock. Obviously, they just, they put a lot on Baker too when they came down to analysis, and commentators are like, yeah, this is probably his worst game of the season so far, or arguably probably by in the Bucks uniform. So, but despite that, man, a lot, there were some times or in a game where I was like, there's some, a lot, it's clearly like some questionable calls by the officials that was clearly one sided for Detroit. Obviously the only ones that are probably not complaining about it is Detroit fans, but um, like that Kate Otten catch that was ruled an interception and Baker being tripped, and I was just like, yo, like
Oh man, yeah.
it was just a lot of things that came as a key factor. Like, it's not to diminish like we weren't having a bad game, because we were, but it was like, man, like those were key drives for us to get back into the football game, especially like
Mhm.
right before the half. So, um, yeah, man, I feel like it's really just. I mean, in my opinion, I feel like it's a little bit of both. Like the Lions, I feel like they totally kind of just changed my perspective on them coming into this season, as we predicted in the beginning. I feel like they really are a good team to be reckoned with, but at the same time, the Bucks really just been dealing what they've been doing all season, which was we're really shorthanded. So, and clearly they just took advantage and got the best of us on Monday night. So it was very heartbreaking. For the most part, it was we can take a L and move on, but at the end of the day, we're kind of just looking forward to um, getting through New Orleans this week, and then a very much needed bye week, so that we can kind of regroup and try to get everybody back healthy as much as we can. But um, yeah, it wasn't a smooth L, if that makes any sense. Like, it was just so many factors in the game where it just made it so hard to kind of being like, man, like that could have been Baker's moment, or
Mhm.
that could have been a jump start for the team to kind of actually get some rhythm going. But yeah, man. It really was a very good game by the Lions, but at the same time, the Bucks being shorthanded just really caught up to them.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I think I kind of agree with what you said. It was a little bit of both, but I can, if I had to lean one way, I would say it was more the Bucks being shorthanded, just because the Lions are a good team. They are arguably a top five team in the league right now. But just the way that the Buccaneers, like their defense, just look kind of shorthanded too. Hassan White, I think what's his Hassan Reddick got. Was it Hassan Reddick? Is that what his name? I'm pretty sure he got hurt during the game. Mike Evans got hurt during the game. Ibuka was just coming back off an injury, so he wasn't looking like his full self. And then yeah, it just seemed like Baker that it's like Aiden Hutchinson was just pushing through that offensive line so many times. Baker just couldn't like have any time to throw the ball. So I
Yeah.
think it was more of the Bucks just looked very short-handed. And when Baker did have time to throw the ball, nobody was getting open really for him. And he did overthrow a couple balls to I can't remember his name. The guy that caught that touchdown last week and then did a backflip. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Tez.
Yeah, Tez. Tez was open a couple times. Baker overthrew him, but that was kind of because Baker was already under pressure at those times. And the
Yeah.
one call I agree with that tripping when Baker got tripped, I was like, how did you not guys not call that? He clearly was about to run out of the pocket, and you see this dude fall to the floor and just stick his leg out. Like you
Yeah.
clearly just see it. But I didn't understand. Like, some of the calls were iffy, but I thought it would be. I think if the Bucks were at full capacity, fully healthy, and with everyone there, I feel like they could have competed. I'm not saying they would have won the game, but I'm saying they would have competed. I think it would have been a lot better than I think. What was the final score? 24-9 or something. I can't remember exactly what the score was. Something like that. I know the Bucks scored 9, but I think it comes down to more of I thought the Bucks were just shorthanded, and especially with Mike Evans gone, it kind of ruins it a little bit more with Mike Evans going down in the game, and it was his first game back too. So you kind of when you have a Buka coming back for the first time, um, no Chris Godwin. You have Mike Evans coming back for his first game. It's going to be kind of a hard matchup. So I do believe it was just because Baker was just shorthanded. But at the same exact time, the Lions are a good team, and I don't want to take anything away from them and say the only reason why you guys won is because the Bucks were shorthanded. I think the one thing I can say is like the reason why they couldn't compete is because they were shorthanded. So that's how I answer that, honestly.
Yeah, man. No Bucky Irving out there. Just all the
Hmm.
main pieces that the really only one that seems to be really healthy on that offense is pretty much Kate Otten, and then that was kind of the opposite last season. Is that he was the only one that really seems to not being able to stay healthy, and everybody else was, but
Yeah.
including Mike. But once pretty much, yeah, that once Mike pretty much went down, man, you can just kind of tell everybody's just like, well, like it's not like we haven't been able to adjust or put the next man up, because clearly they've been doing more than what they've been asked for. But it's like, man, we just couldn't get anything going for the most part. And then because of the offense can't really get up and down the field, and Baker hasn't had any time in the pocket, as you mentioned, or nobody's getting open, it put a lot of pressure on that defense, which for the most part, if they're able to come out and rather if the Bucks score right away or not, then they can hold up their own. And but they were playing a pretty much a full stacked offense in Detroit, so
Mhm.
it's like they only could do so much. And like even Antoine Winfield is out there. It was like, man, he was pretty much the last one in a lot of plays when it came down to like Jamar booking it down sideline, or a lot of these little running plays and stuff, or even when excuse me, Amara St. Brown was getting his touches, it was like, man, really, our corners were nowhere to be found. Linebacking has always been a pretty much an issue with if
Hmm.
Levante's not in the game. So at the end of it, like we were barely getting shoestring tackles to kind of save it to not make it so much of a blowout. So we had our chances, but we just clearly couldn't capitalize.
Yeah, it was like you guys had chances. It was, like I said, Baker. It's not all on the injuries because there was a couple times, like I said, Baker did overthrow Tez a couple times going into the end zone. He had a few passes where the ball was getting really high and he was just throwing it too high. That was mainly because the pressure he was getting towards him. So yeah, it was not all on the injuries, but I feel like if I had to lean one way, I think it was more about the Bucks being shorthanded, and mainly because they couldn't compete. Like when they're shorthanded, they cannot compete at all. And now, like I brought up earlier, we're getting to Mike Evans. Mike Evans, broken collarbone. He's going to be out for probably the almost the whole entire season. He won't be back until week 15. He was just coming back. It seemed like we were getting a good start. I was like, oh, here comes Mike Evans, going to get 1,000 yards again. But that's going to be broken. His streak is going to be over because he's not going to be playing the rest of the season. So with Mike Evans being gone, how big is that for the Bucks Super Bowl hopes? Do you think? Because I think we both had them going to the AFC Championship or the NFC Championship, and we both thought that they had a chance to make the Super Bowl. But how big do you think this is for now the Bucks making that Super Bowl?
Um, for starters, I want to say before I get back into Mike Evans, rest in peace to Doug Martin.
Oh
Um,
man, Doug Martin. Yep, man. I know. I saw
that was
that.
that was a really that that almost hit like home for me, or it did pretty much, because that was like part of my childhood. That was part of my teenage years. Even before I even declared being a Bucks fan, I always he was one of those players that were very fun to watch. And
Hmm.
not only that, but he was one of the very last few that were a part of those rough years when the Bucks were fun to watch, because um, not only he was gone, but you had Mike Williams passed away, the other receiver. You had the other Charger that played with the Bucks too, Vincent Jackson, passed away. So it was like, man, he was
Hmm.
literally the last one, and the fact that he had passed so very young, still had a lot of life ahead of him. It didn't seem like he was going to too much, but it wasn't until after the reports that he had passed that he was obviously dealing with a bunch of mental stuff, and
Hmm.
obviously they're still trying to come up with um, more information about what the situation was with the police and stuff. But anyways, just have to mention that out there because it was already a tough week for Bucks fans alone coming into that game. So we were hoping that they came out and just kind of played a better game. But even then, we're not really mad at it. We could just kind of get that out the way and just keep moving forward. So,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
agree with you. I would say rest in peace, Doug Martin. Like I remember playing with him on Madden and watching this dude. I had him on a couple fantasy teams growing up, and I would play fantasy. I would watch him all the time. Bro was so good. And the one player he just brought up, honestly, I forgot he passed away. It was Vicente Jackson. I forgot all about
yeah,
that. When he said that, I was like, I had to look at my phone. I was like, wait, he passed. I was like, oh my god. I was like, yeah, I was back in 2021. I remember me being an old Charger fan. I remember when we had Vincent Jackson on one side and Malcolm Floyd back when I used to like the Chargers. So yeah, I forgot all
yeah.
about I forgot all about that too. But yeah, man, it was a tragic loss for the NFL community. He was, like you said, he was dealing with his mental problems, and I don't want to get into the full entire story of what happened. But yeah, just rest in peace, Doug Martin.
Yeah, most def, man. Prayers. Um, but yeah, for Mike Evans, man, it was very devastating. It was just simply hard to watch after he had went down. First, I thought like, oh, okay, like maybe he just got a slight concussion. He'll be out for the next game or two. I was like, geez, this might be worse than we thought, and it just
Hmm.
really sunk into the team's heart because they're like, man, he just back. So as especially when they were trying to make a comeback in that game. Um, but moving forward, hopefully he can somehow return by the playoffs. For the most part, I feel like at best right now, we're probably just going to be like a deep level playoff team. I'm not
Hmm.
really too sure if we might even make the conference championship, to be honest with you. And but I feel like in order to be an
Yeah.
Hassan Reddick and stuff out there, and they like up front. So I really upgrade at that, rather if it's um do drafting like we usually do, have a good draft, or actually picking up a good key. Very they're very home developed team, or
Hmm.
they develop their players from the bottom up, no matter when they come into the big trades like that, especially in the middle of the season. But if we just had like um I seen the reports, they were supposedly interested in getting a, but
Yeah.
somebody like that, somebody, to throw a name like that, uh, making to make an upgrade at that, the Bucks for the most, it comes down to it, they make a good one. We just ended we just ended up doing that to ourselves. So um just by simply because
Hmm.
we have a really good season for the most part, record wise, but comes down to the playoffs this year, like at most, like I said, just kind of just being realistic here. I see them really nothing like the second round or something like that.
Yeah, as of right now, like I had them, like we both had them in the NFC Championship, but just now with how shorthanded they're gonna be with the injuries stacking up, and now Mike Evans gonna basically miss the whole entire season. Maybe he comes back and he's Mike Evans again, but coming off a significant injury like that, I don't know if he's going to be able to come straight into playoff football and say, you know what, I'm back and I'm going to be the same as that guy. Hopefully, make a Buka can start becoming that star again and start after his because he got hurt and now he's kind of slowing down a little bit after his injury. Maybe he can come back and do that. Hopefully, Chris Godwin can get back on the field because right now Chris Godwin's like I don't really know what's going on with Chris Godwin. He was supposed to be back right now, but then he's already having complications and you don't know if he's going to be able to come back. But as of right now, I have to agree. Like, I don't know if they're going to be able to make that run anymore after that. After just seeing what happened with Mike Evans, seeing that their just team is just going downhill, as in the injury side. I don't know if they're going to be able to make the NFC Championship anymore. I can probably see them maybe, like you said, getting into the playoffs, winning one game, and then probably getting bounced out after that. But yeah, I agree. I think that injury to Mike Evans was very significant, and it's probably going to push the Bucks back probably a big chunk because we were talking about the Bucks being the best team in the NFL last week, and then now they come in, they just with another injury, and with them losing to the Lions, it's kind of hard to even say they're even like maybe top three anymore after that injury. So we'll see later down the road.
Yeah.
Maybe if Mike Evans can come back, maybe Baker Mayfield keeps pulling off this Baker magic and keeps playing to win the MVP. But I'm hoping for the best for the Bucks. But as of right now, with all the injuries they have, it's not looking good at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah. We just have to see what happens. At this
Hmm.
point, just really trying. Well, all of us are pretty much just trying to skip this game that we have this week. Obviously, we can't take it lightly because it's still a pro team, but just trying to get through New Orleans so we can get through this bye week, because I feel like out of a lot of teams in this league, if not the only team that really deserves it right now, is us, because man, we need a break.
Yeah, Nick, honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. I know it's a professional team, but it's still the Saints. They're a professional team. That's not gonna be an easy cakewalk. But to me, this is like you guys got back to back bye weeks. Honestly, go in there, win this game. You guys might have two bye weeks if you guys go in there and do what you guys are supposed to do against the Saints. Even with the injuries, I think Baker Mayfield's probably good enough to come out there and win that game. To be honest, but now
Yeah,
we're getting to another team that is another team that's 5-2. The Philadelphia Eagles. They're 5-2 right now. They just got to win against the Vikings, and honestly, look really good doing it. It still seems like Saquon Barkley is not able to run the ball as good as he wants to, and it's going to come down to the passing game of Jalen Hurts and working with Smith and Brown. But with the Eagles winning that game against the Vikings and looking pretty good while doing it, Are the Eagles the Super Bowl contenders? Are legit Super Bowl contenders? Can you say, or do you think they're kind of an overrated 5-2 team?
Well, considering that they lost a couple key games so far, it's showing that they're for the most part still beatable, and they need to kind of stay consistent in order for them to be successful in general. So, not to diminish them because at the end of the day, we kind of end up having Minnesota putting up a better fight. They can
Hmm.
almost kind of win the game, but I feel like this time around, especially now, it's like, man, Minnesota is always seeming to always let people down whenever they have it in their favor. Or people are like, "Nah, I got them this week." They seem like they could pull it off.
Yeah.
Even if they don't have necessarily the best matchups, or they're just like, "Oh, okay," like easily you could see why everybody's gonna root for them because it's them. But um, I know for damn sure this is gonna be my last time even rooting for Mini because every time they do, bro, it's like I think it's like 5 for 5 in the last few years. I'm like they always lose the game.
Yep.
So um, especially in these critical games at that, and um, after that game was over, I was like, dude, they just need to throw away that whole secondary, at least most of that defense, because Jesus, it was bad. Like they was almost like Cincinnati in the beginning year type bad. I was like, yeah, I don't know what's up with this defense. I know it's like intimidating because you're playing against a pretty high powered offense when they want to be, but I'm like, you guys are at home. That's already
Hmm.
an advantage. And Carson Wentz actually had a pretty decent game for the most part up until the end. So I was like, all right, well, maybe they have a chance, but clearly they just couldn't pull it out. And Isaiah Rodgers, man, once he went 1-on-1 at towards the end, I was just like, why would they do that to him? Because
Yeah.
AJ Brown was going to take clear advantage of it. The dude was going, the ball was going towards his way, and you can tell it's going to be one of those games for him. So he was really just going to be like, I think I seen something where he was actually yelling either towards Jalen Hurts or towards the to their to their sideline, and was just like, "You see what happens when you throw me the ball?" And I was just like, "Hey, I'm not mad at you, but let's just see like if that's going to be in the game plan moving forward because it's been a really rough start for him in that team
Hmm.
trying to get him involved." So, but honestly, I want to say the next couple games will decide for me if they're really like for real or not. It just comes down to really staying consistent. So, um, then I'll have to see. By then, I can actually say if they're actually Super Bowl contenders because just like last week, we were like, I don't know, Eagles may not even go back to the big stage this year. Just the way that they have a lot to figure out, and if it's not the injuries, then it's just them simply having to get along with each other on the field, especially on offense. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, right now I just want to say they're just a little bit overrated.
I have to agree. I want to say that I'll see maybe what comes into the next couple weeks and how they're doing. But at the moment, I want to say they are overrated. I kind of really just want to say that I don't believe they're going to Super Bowl contenders yet. Like as of right now, like I've seen the two bad games they had. They beat the Vikings, but like you say, the Vikings always seem to come out there and have a bad game when you think they're going to win. Like we both thought the Vikings would come out there and pull the game off, but they went out there and they just cannot do anything with it. And I just think the Eagles are not a playoff team yet because they need a big culture change right now. I don't think you can trust a Jalen Hurts throwing to the ball to AJ Brown to get you winning games. If Saquon was out there and he was running the ball very good and he was having a good game, I'd come out here and say they are probably Super Bowl contenders. If Saquon's behind them, they can put the ball in the backfield. But as of right now, with Saquon not even like getting damn near, not even getting 60 yards a game right now, and him having a
Yeah,
bad season, and with what was I gonna say with the ball having to go to Smith and putting the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands to throw the ball to Brown and Smith. And with Smith, I mean, with Brown always having something to say, I feel like something's eventually got to give. And I don't think it's going to hold up, to be honest. I can't trust the Brown and Hurts dynamic duo to pull this off. Even though they have a great offense, I just can't trust it right now. So
yeah,
I'm gonna say they are overrated. They're 5-2. They're at top of is it the NFC East? Is that what it is? It's NFC East, I believe, right? They're on top of the division. But hey, one more loss and the Cowboys are gonna be right there with them. The Cowboys are coming. The Cowboys are offense looks really good right now. And yeah, one more loss, and they're going to be right there with the Cowboys. So And we'll see how the Eagles do in that next couple of weeks, and then we can come on here again and say, are they Super Bowl contenders? But now, getting into, like I said, the Cowboys are right there. Dak Prescott with another great game. Dak Prescott has his team 3-1. The one draw coming to the Packers, where they damn near almost went out there and beat the Packers. So that's a team that's on its way up with probably the best offense, all around offense in the league right now. Like, they're putting up points on everybody. And as of right now, I saw, because before the season, the Cowboys had a 10% chance of making the playoffs. Now they're up to 28%. They have the Pro Football Focus, ESPN. They all had them at 28% chance of making the playoffs. What do you think? Do you think Dallas will make the playoffs?
They can. Um, it's not like it's too far fetched now that they have a better percentage of their chances to do it. They're gonna have to definitely win a few more football games to start, making a little jump to for a wild card spot if they don't take that division. So,
Mm-hmm.
but really has to. I said it before. The offense is one thing because they're gonna find a way. As long as Dak is out there and healthy, you got CD. You got a couple of core pieces out there that's gonna help. That offensive line is always gonna do their job for the most part. It really just starts that the defenses really has to tighten up altogether because
Yeah.
one week they're just like, oh, they show up, and then the next week they're just like, yo, like who is these people? Like I don't I don't know where did they wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or they just not feeling motivated, or they're just really that lost. So altogether, they just really need to tighten up. But if Dak keeps it up, they definitely have a fighting chance, especially the way that he's been playing. Um, it's going to take a lot more, though, I feel, from the team to kind of keep their chances alive. But they
Mm-hmm.
also have to keep in mind. They also have to keep in mind that not only in their division, but there are just a lot of hungry teams, especially so far right now, early in the season, not even midway through the season yet, that they're also trying to get to that spot of probably and also won't win their division. So they're probably also trying to win as much games, from here on out to at least acquire that wild card spot too, or to kind of get that last seed in the playoffs. So they really got to step it up moving forward if they really wanted to go out and compete not only in their division but against other teams out there,
Yeah.
especially in the NFC.
Yeah, especially in the NFC. Like, with the NFC, look, there's so many good teams there. I wanna say, yeah, like, I wanna say they're gonna make the playoffs, but I just don't know if defense like that can lead you to the playoffs. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they're scoring 30 plus points every single damn game, so maybe they can, but they're gonna have to do it in a shootout. And I don't know if this is gonna last. I don't know if you can last a full season getting into a shootout every single game and pulling it off in the playoffs. But as of right now, the Cowboys' offense looks good. It's possible to carry us into the playoffs, but with them probably not going to win the division. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're right there behind the Eagles, but I still have the Eagles winning that division. And with them
Right.
being second in the division, they're going to have to get a wild card spot. And with the wild card spot, you have so many good teams. Like, look at the NFC West right now. You have three teams tied at 5-2. So it's going to be hard to get a wild card spot right now. If you went to the playoffs started right now, the NFC West will have three teams in the playoffs. And it's crazy. The Rams will be the seventh seed. Just think about that. The Rams will be the seventh seed in the playoffs, and that's just crazy to say. The Los Angeles Rams, being that low. So there's so many good teams that can make the playoffs in the NFC. If this was in the AFC, I'd be telling you, you know what, they can make the playoffs. But the NFC is a different breed right now. They have so many great teams. So I don't know if they're going to be able to make that push, especially with the defense being so bad. But if I had to answer the question right now, I'm going to say no. I'm gonna say I don't think they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll finish the year. I want to say maybe like 9-8, maybe 9-8, maybe even like 10-7, and if they're 10-7, they might get in, and that's a maybe. But I can see them finishing about like, oh, that I can't even say 9-8 because they have a draw on the record. So it'll be, what would the record be? The record would be nine. Is that, I don't know if it would be 9-7-1 or it'd be 8-7 8-7-1. I can't exactly do the math right now, but yeah. So even with that draw on the record, that pushes them back even more a little bit. I mean, it's better than a loss. It is better than a loss, but that means you have one less win to get into the playoffs. So I'm gonna say
True.
no. There's just way too many teams in the NFC that I think have a better chance of making the playoffs than the Dallas Cowboys. So as of right now, I'm going to say no, even with how great Dak is playing. And then we're gonna stick with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott putting up another great performance. and he throwing 3 touchdowns. I believe he had 3 touchdowns. About two, I think it was 200. I was looking to double check the stats, but I think it was 3 touchdowns, 200 like 280, almost damn near 300 yards. I don't know if you have the stats on you by chance, but basically he had a great game. Dak Prescott went out there and killed it again. And with him having that performance and Baker having a bad game, as you can say, do you think Dak is the new leader for the MVP right now?
Right now, I don't know if I would actually put him over Baker, not to be biased at all, but it was a very good win for them, especially against, the division rival, which, that's, we'll get into that later, but uh it was definitely good offensively for sure, and then the defense played pretty decent enough at least to not keep it a shootout in that way. So kudos to Dallas for actually coming up a big win at home. But I feel like moving forward to this week, that this game coming up against Denver is going to be really determining to me if Dak can actually prove that he can stay elite against good teams.
Hmm.
Um, you know, as for Baker though, it just feels like despite his bad performance on Monday to the Lions, he's still, in my opinion, still playing his heart out, even though it didn't look good on paper, and obviously he was just getting banged up out there a lot. Like he was coming out of that game saying, like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I am banged up, but it's not gonna stop me from still coming out on Sunday before the bye week." So
Hmm.
it just shows of how much he's laying it out there on the line. He doesn't even look like he's hurt until the right if they win or lose, and he's just like, "Yeah, like I need a ice bath, I need to hit that hypervolt." So um, the Bucks do have the Saints this week, and then it's a bye, which is, like I said before, that is crucially needed. So I expect him to bounce back and then pretty much shut up all the critics, because I'm just like, yeah, I get it, guys. He had a bad game, but it wasn't just entirely on him. It was a whole team collective that they played bad on
Yeah.
both sides. So um, I don't know. I don't think I want to actually, not to be a hater or anything like that, because I feel like Dak is really still top five in terms of MVP right now, but I don't want to. I actually just don't want to put him in front of Baker just yet, just because Dak is having a good season, but like how we said before, of what Baker has to work with right now, and even though he just this is their second loss, but it's their worst loss so far. It's still showing how much he is actually, the leader of that team, and how much he actually makes a difference out there. So if everybody else can help him out there, then it would have been a different game. He probably would have actually came back and won the game. So, but Dak for sure is still in that conversation. But I still want to actually just put Baker above him a little bit.
Yeah, with Dak having that great game, and one thing I'm going to say right now, I don't have Dak. We'll get into who our top five MVP candidates are towards a little bit like towards the end of this episode. But the one
Yeah,
thing I can't say is I can't put Dak at number one because I can't put a guy that's 3-3 at number one. 3-3-1.
right.
I can't put you. I mean, I get you having a great season, but you still have 3 losses on your record. So I can't. I mean, that's not even the 3 losses. You're 3-3-1. Maybe if you're 4-3, I can think about it, like possibly.
Yeah,
But this 3-3-1, I can't put you at the top of it right now. Personally, I don't want to get into who I have at my top spots yet because like I have an order of who I have in my top five MVP candidates, but personally, I have someone like Drake May arguably being higher, or maybe even like what's it called? Even like Jonathan Taylor could be higher, or someone like that. Like
yeah,
there's a lot of good other options that you can put at that top spot. So I don't want to just come in here and say he's number one just because like a recency bias of him having a great game, and Baker having a bad game. I don't want to come in here and just right away say, oh, he's number one now because he had a great game. Don't get me wrong. He's having a great season, but 3-3-1. He doesn't have to win some more games. Maybe if he's 5-3-1 a couple weeks, I'll have him at number one. But as of right now, I can't put him over Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's done so much with so less with these game-winning comebacks. And yes, he had a bad game, so I feel like it's recency bias for people. Like, oh, Baker had a bad game. He's not number one no more. It's kind of hard just to put that honestly because he still has 4 game-winning drives, and he still is doing it without arguably his top 3 receivers, and especially with the Buka going down last week, and the Buka now coming back, and him not not even playing as good. I feel like Baker just if Baker continues to win, hands down, he still has to be number one to be honest. But we'll get into where we have top five. But as of right now, I can't put. I can't put Dak over Baker Mayfield for the MVP, and Dak is not on my top spot for MVP. I just can't put him there.
Yeah, and that's why it's hard for me. Like I obviously got to tune in to what certain people say, especially like the analytics and people who are covers the game a lot and actually have shows about it. But it's just ridiculous nowadays. Like if a guy like you just said, this guy literally has drove the team to 4 game winning drives, and then just a week prior, that was his first game actually having um a good lead ahead and actually being able to kneel the ball for the game. So it's like
Mhm.
for the most part, nobody was actually feeling this way like this intensely before, but he takes one loss, and it was actually against a top 5 team. Now all of a sudden that just throws out the way. Like not only is he MVP, but or not MVP anymore, but like Baker's not like that. He's just he's showing why he didn't last with the last few teams. And I'm like, just off of one game though, like if it was Pat Mahomes, if it was anybody else, they wouldn't count him out that easy unless he lost 3 in a row. But
Yeah.
because Baker, it's like people just want to keep poking at it, like, oh,
Mhm.
I can't wait for him to lose so I can just have a field day. And it's just like, dude, like, I don't care how much you're
And then Mahomes goes out there and wins 2 games, and he's 4-3. Now he's obviously the MVP. He's the next guy. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like,
yeah, it's just dumb, man. And I'm like, at this point, like, some people don't even deserve to have a platform, or even better yet, don't even need to have access to state out these opinions anymore because it's like, bro, like, I guarantee you more than half these people aren't getting paid for it. And even if you are, like, really, that's your best take on it. Like, do you actually
mhm.
know the game yet? Like, rather if you're a fan of him or the Bucks or just in general, it's like you can't really base off of just one game, man. And
Yeah,
it clearly wasn't that much of a shutout. Like we still put some points on the board, so I don't even want to hear it, man. It's like what? That's why I'm banking on him to come back this week and just like and then what? They're gonna be like, oh well, it was against the Saints. It's like the same Saints that just beat the Giants the other week.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I don't understand it how people like are quick to move off of Baker Mayfield and easy to put Mahomes on the top. Like I've seen that happen all the time. A lot of stuff like that was happening recently, but yeah. Now moving on to our next one, guys. The Miami decision at coaching right now. Mike McDaniel's is look like he's on the hot seat. Look like he might lose his job at the moment. But and Tua too. Tua might be losing his job at the very soon because Mike McDaniel's is not having a good coaching year. Tua's not having a good quarterback year right now. With Mike McDaniel's looking like he's very frustrated. Mike McDaniel's has aged like 10 years already in a couple years over there. Like I swear, man's looking older and older every single week. But with how bad Miami's playing, and Mike McDaniel's, I don't know if you saw the comment Mike McDaniel said. Mike McDaniel's came out there. They said, "What's the game plan for this week?" He said, let's just not throw 14 picks." And I'm like, is that now are you taking shots at your quarterback? Is that what you're doing now? Like and Tua's out there taking shots at the coach, saying basically like, oh, we don't have a good offense and we're having players only meetings and all this stuff. So it seems like it's going bad downhill, very bad, especially now, especially with that injury for with what's it called with I almost lost his
Tyreek.
name. Tyreek Hill, yeah, with Tyreek Hill getting hurt, it seems like everything's going bad for them. But the question is it time for a coaching change in Miami?
Why don't you start this off?
Oh yeah, I'll start this one off. I feel like I've been throwing them at you this whole time. I feel
No,
let me
you're good.
start this one off. Yes, it is a time for an everything change in Miami. Honestly, new coach, new quarterback, new GM. Just pull it apart and try to get into the draft and draft a new quarterback. It's time to just tear the whole entire team apart and just start fresh because right now this is not going well for them. But it just seems like it's a horrible decision to where now your quarterback is having recorded not even your quarterback, your team is having all player meetings. Like they have two so far this season. They're not inviting the coach. They're talking amongst themselves. You have Tua saying, "I think the offense is a bit little tune up." You have Mike McDaniel saying the game plan for this week is not for us to throw 14 picks, and they're just taking shots back and forth at each other. It feels like so. I think it's time for an everything change. Like, you don't want your quarterback taking shots at your coach. You don't want your coach taking shots at your quarterback, and you definitely need. And if the GM is probably the most to blame, honestly, because you signed all these people. You brought this coach in. You brought Tua in. You brought Tyreek. You brought Waddle. You got this team together where that when you know it was going to be a team that doesn't play that much defense, that's just going to be scoring a whole bunch of points, trying to score. And you had one good year with this team, and everything's been downhill ever since. So I think it's time. Like I said, I think it's time for everything change. The coach, the players, the GM. I think the owner really needs to start thinking about what's going to happen to Miami next.
Yeah, I 1000% agree, man. They need to just from the top to bottom, man. They really need to just do a whole makeover and almost act like this season didn't even exist because right now they can't get anything right. Nobody. It's just I don't think anybody on that team gets along with each other other than the people just trying to make a name for themselves and like, hey, I'm just happy to be on the team. But the people that are actually leading up front aren't really seeing eye to eye. And if it's not
Hmm.
making plays on the field, then it's just a clear communication to each other on the sideline to on the field. So at this point, everybody's just kind of rolling their eyes, like, okay, like when is it gonna end? When is it gonna stop? So yeah, they really need to just throw everything away from GM to obviously might have to get a new head. They have to get a new head coach. They got to get they Tua. I wouldn't be. I'll be surprised if he ends up sticking it out next season or if they decide to keep riding with him. They need to throw everything away, including them ugly ass uniforms they have on Thursday night. Because I'm like, bro, black is not nowhere in Miami Dolphin color scheme. So
Yeah.
I know they're trying to do something different, but I'm just like, and even then, it was against the Jets, and I'm like, that was a subpar game at that. It was very low scoring. So it's like that's how you want to make a statement. But anyways, yeah, it's just not really looking good for them. I really do feel like they need a whole change altogether. They're a household name for the most part because it's Miami. Who doesn't want to play in Miami? But um, it's like so far nobody has ever lived up to the hype, especially at the quarterback position. They just nobody's really been able to do it since Dan Marino, and pretty much nobody remembers that. So it's like
Hmm.
where do you guys go from here? But it just like I said, it starts from the top to bottom, and they're just gonna have to really see what next season brings because from here on out, clearly they're not gonna win the division. They're not gonna really win too many football games at that. They just lost to the Browns, so it's like, well, can't really get no worse than that. Like, what's next? You probably lose to Tennessee or something, or I don't know,
Hmm.
Saints. But yeah, it's not really much to say. But they have to look within themselves as an organization and being like, who's going to be not only the next person, but what is the culture here in Miami? Do they want to? It's one thing to actually want to win, but you guys don't look like you are establishing that even at practice,
Hmm.
even with the coach. Like me and my uncle were just talking about it this past Sunday when they were playing the Browns. I'm like, not only the coach look like you said, he's aging almost every week. So I'm like, I'm looking at him like this man looks totally disoriented and stressed, and I'm like, man, like how much like is he self medicating at this point? Because he just looks like he's not there at all. He's just
Yeah.
like, look. As long as I'm here, I'm just gonna just say whatever to just bypass it and just try to look forward to the game. Hopefully, it can translate on the field. But this man looked like he's just either drinking himself, taking meds, or doing something. Because this guy just looks like he can't even look nobody in the face. He's just here or just swaying his head. So yeah, I don't really see him coming back at all.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. We're both on the same part, same boat. But they just need a whole what's it called, refresh over there, Miami. Take everybody out, like those home improvement shows that used to happen over there. Just tear it down and then move that bus. And Mike Daniels and everything go, they all leave on the bus. Like that's literally what happens. Like something needs to happen because like Mike McDaniels for his own health, he needs to get out of Miami. For Tua's health, he probably needs to get out of football before he gets hurt again. And
Mm-mm.
Tyreek Hill ain't going to be back next season. Tyreek Hill might not play for another 2 years, honestly, and he's not going to be in Miami after that for sure. Jalen Waddle might want to get out of there and get a better team because as of right now, he's looking like he's getting frustrated as well. The defense is frustrated with the offense. The offense is frustrated with the defense. And if you're out there losing to the Browns and just looking that bad against the Browns with Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, and Dylan Gabriel still doesn't have a good game. He still has not had a good game. Like he wasn't even looking good up there against Miami, but they scored points because of the running game. Like they're just everything's going bad for them. So yeah, it's time to break it down and start all over with the Miami Dolphins. So
Yeah.
now we're staying with the Miami Dolphins. I'll answer this as well. First, is the blame more on Tua or is the blame more on McDaniel's? Honestly, if I had to say anything, I think it's more on Tua. To be honest, if I think I had to put on Tua because that's the one thing I don't really like. I don't like when everybody always blames the coach. Like the players
Yeah.
have to players have to go in there and play. They have to go out there and perform and do what the schemes say in his chart. And I guarantee on his chart is two and not two throwing 2 or 3 interceptions. Like he said the game plan for this week is not to throw 14 interceptions. Like he's he's like I feel like at the end of the day, it's hard to win games when your quarterback's playing so bad, and then with Tua out there talking to Cam Newton and saying stuff back at Cam, and with Tua saying, "Oh well, I'm gonna have an all players meeting 2 different times," and Tua just seems like everything's just not going right for Tua, and I just feel like all everybody always blames the coach, and I know I'm tired of everybody blaming the coach. I'm gonna say it's on Tua more than it is McDaniel, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's not to excuse McDaniel's for the way that he's behaving, and he's just kind of nonchalant. Like, yeah, we just got to go out there and just not lose, or
Hmm.
specifically our quarterback not f it up. So I'm just like, man, like you're the head coach. Like that's the most motivating quote you can come up with for this week. Like I know it hasn't been ideal the best season for you guys so far, and nothing's going your way. But it's like, damn, like you're supposed to be the main head honcho here. It's your job to gather everybody together and to draw up game winning schemes. Obviously, that hasn't been working, but come on now, like you can't be optimistic at least one time in your life. So, not to excuse that at all, but yeah, you're right. It definitely is on Tua because once again, it starts back from when he actually opened his mouth for once. At the time when somebody is criticizing him from which was Cam Newton, it's like okay, you actually want to which I'm not mad at. You want to kind of stick up for yourself and being like, yeah, like well you put yourself in my shoes or you want to it's hard to play in this type of game, it's the NFL, which I'm like all right, it's valid for the most part, but at the same time, what have you proven to actually back those words up on the field? You honestly just been playing as if not worse than since you opened your mouth in the
Hmm.
beginning. So um I just it's getting to the point where it's like not only your football career is on the line because of how much your health is in jeopardy, but if you're thinking Miami's over, I can't speak up because I'm not a scour intel for a lot of these teams in the NFL, but it's getting to the point where like I don't see anybody wanting to actually put up with Tua if his days in Miami are over. Like
Yeah.
where does first of all where does he fit? Like the is starting to come to that point where a lot of quarterbacks on these rosters are starting to tighten up a bit. A lot of them already have a lot of these teams already have quarterbacks that are set in stone for a future, or they're already looking forward to next year's draft. So that's going to be a really quarterback heavy draft. But it's like at this point, where does Tua even see himself? Because this pretty much might be his only run in the NFL. Because this dude, like we said 1,000 times, he's one hit away from his career being over from another
Hmm.
concussion.
Yeah.
So that is already stacked against him, and his back's against the wall. But now, not only that, but you're not going on the field and actually trying to act like you actually care. I don't, it's one thing if Tyreek's not there on the field for the rest of the season, but you got Jalen Waddle out there. You got other guys that are trying to prove to themselves that they deserve to be on the NFL team. And I guarantee if somebody else was to put him at or take two a spot out there, they're going to try to get everybody involved and being like, okay, this is what I have. And even if we don't seem like we're going to win these games or these matchups against these teams in the season, they're going to try to put up a fight because that's their job.
Yeah.
So with Tua, man, I don't know. It just seems like he's just not cut out for it.
Yeah, I agree. We both are on the same boat for this one as well because I mean I agree. Like it's on both of them. Like I put towards a little bit on McDaniel's as well because you can't be saying that as a head coach. There's only one guy, actually two guys that can be saying that stuff as head coaches. One's in the NBA and one was in the NFL. and that's Bill
Yeah.
Belichick and Greg Popovich. Those are the only two people that can answer questions like that. And the reason why they were able to answer questions like that is because they were winning. They were winning, and then their schemes are working, so they can go in there. Oh yeah, what are you going to do this? What's your plan for this week? The plan for this week is not to lose. Like that's like those are the only two coaches that can really say that because that's just how they are. McDaniel has never been like that. He's a geek. He's more of like an analytical geek. He answers the questions in full. Now it seems like he's just getting frustrated, and him just saying that. Like I said, like plan for this week is not to lose. The plan for this week is not to throw 14 interceptions. When I saw that quote, I laughed. I was like, bro, I was like, you are literally like just attacking Tua now. That's literally what you're doing. But if I had to pick, it's on both of them. It is on both of them. That's why I said they need a whole refresh over there. Get rid of both of them and start a brand new. Even get rid of the GM, start brand new with everything. But if I had to pick one and put the who's at more blame, it has to be on Tua because he's actually out there playing the game. He's the one actually out there throwing interceptions. He's the one out there talking and throwing more picks and losing these games. So it has to be on Tua, in my opinion, for this one. And
Like
now,
the best way I can describe it is when back when Tyreek had his season cut short and that injury. Um, hopefully he can get better soon so he can contend on another team. Like you said,
mhm,
hopefully KC or something. But uh, you could just see it on his face. Like as he was getting carted off the field, this dude had nothing but smiles. Like, yeah, it's Tyreek. He's not really known to kind of being like showing to his emotions too much in terms of like, yeah, like he's gonna try to be optimistic. Like I'm Tyreek Hill. Like I'm winning even when I'm not playing. So,
mhm.
but you could just tell like through his smile as he was getting carted off that day, it was almost like a sigh of relief for him. It was almost like, yes, I know this sucks. I'm hurt, but at least I ain't got to play with this dude right now because they was going. It was crazy, and I didn't want to make it seem like that, but as they kept showing it over and over, especially on like on First Take or any of these shows, I was like, yeah, Tyreek just looked like it was just a sigh of relief for him. He was like, cool, like if I rather get hurt, I rather get hurt now because I'm not finna stick it out with these dudes. Like he was already kind of button heads in the beginning anyway before he got hurt, so he's like he was just starting to get his groove back, and that was really the only thing generating for them on offense anyhow. So now that
Mhm.
he's gone, he was just like. He's almost like, yep. Now y'all really gonna see, like, it ain't me, it's him, it's them.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I feel like if he didn't break his leg that bad and probably gonna be out for a couple years now, even if that didn't happen, if he like pulled a hammy, he probably would have prolonged it for like 8 weeks instead of two. It'd be like, you know what, guys, I'm still hurt. I don't feel good because he probably didn't want to go out there and play because yeah, it just don't look good for that team right now. Now let's talk about a team that we both didn't believe in going into the season, but a team that is doing good right now is the Indianapolis Colts. They are 6-1. Who would have thought we would be sitting here saying the Daniel Jones Colts are 6-1 into the 7 weeks into the season? Kind of crazy, if you ask me. I did not. I don't think anybody expected it. I mean, there's one person that expected it, and the whole entire media. There's one person that expected it, and that's Greg Jennings. I watch Greg Jennings talk a lot. Greg Jennings has always been a fan of Daniel Jones. He's always said Daniel Jones. Greg Jennings put his crazy topic out there. I mean, a crazy take out there. He said Daniel Jones is a top 10, almost a top 5 quarterback in the league, and people were laughing at him. It wasn't looking good for a couple years, but now it's popping up. Daniel Jones might be a top 10 quarterback in the league. So there's one guy that did expect it, and that was Greg Jennings, and maybe Jeff Saturday. But Jeff Saturday is the guy that's like, no matter who's on the Colts, we gonna win no matter
We
what.
gonna
Like,
win.
yeah, that's the only guy probably Jeff Saturday's like that. But for an analytic point of view, it was Greg Jennings actually felt like it. But what do you think? Now 6-1, it's finally, to my opinion, to start talking about the Indianapolis Colts. Do you think they're Super Bowl contenders?
I can't believe that we're actually getting to the point where we're talking about them like this. But so far they're looking like it. I don't
Hmm.
know. It's it's still a little bit fetched for me, a little bit far because it's like first it was like okay, they didn't play anybody. Now they played LA, or they played again in LA, this time against the Chargers, and we for sure thought like, nah, the Chargers are a different team. They've had their little recent struggles and whatnot, but they look like they were just gonna simply put up a better fight and then somehow come out with this win. Especially because I'm like, man, they got Justin Herbert out there. They got a
Yeah.
pretty, pretty good defense when they want to, and they got some dogs out there. Especially getting Allen back from Chicago. So I was like, yeah, you know they're a really good team to go up against, and we've really found like we thought that they actually started to meet their match, but clearly it wasn't. It wasn't really a game like that per se until like the last 8 minutes of the ball game. But the way that they were just running over the Chargers like that, it was like, man, like is I automatically start thinking, I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to talk about this on the show because they are just kind of proving it right now, and it sucks. It really sucks for me to say because, like I said, I didn't really expect them to do anything like that, especially with Daniel Jones being back there. But clearly,
Hmm.
he's making his case for being, like Greg Jennings saying, top 10, top five, and not only that, but the whole team is just playing phenomenal right now. Like that defense, like with DeForest Buckner and all these other dudes, I'm just like, man, they just seem like they can't do any wrong. So I'm like, when are and my thing is like, when are they actually going to meet their match, or when are they actually going to lose another football game? So
Hmm.
um, Super Bowl contenders right now is tough to say because it's still early in the season, and it's still a lot of football left. But right now, man, yeah, the Colts are just they looking very for some odd reason they're just looking very unstoppable. So I'm gonna say that if they keep this up, if they end up going like I want to say if they go like 8-1, 9-1, then I'm like, okay, yeah, this might have to be um this might have to be the cap to be actually be like, yeah, they're making a strong case to come out that AFC.
Hmm. I mean, I've been doubting them for so long, but I can't get there yet. I know they're playing good. They're 6-1. They are 6-1. I agree. That's why we're actually talking about them now. We're talking about the Colts because 6-1 is it. You have to. You can't just go in there and not talk about a team that is that doing that well on the record side. Their defense is playing great. Jonathan Taylor is running the ball and having one of the best seasons of his career. Um, Daniel Jones is having a resurgence of his career. He's playing really good. So it seems like everything is going really well for the Colts right now. Like every single thing, they're a really good team everywhere. Not even just a good defense, not just a good offense. They're good everywhere, honestly. But I can't say Super Bowl contenders yet. I really just cannot do it because maybe they'll put me wrong. Maybe they'll end up going to the Super Bowl. But I really feel like they're gonna be like the Vikings of last year. They're gonna have this great entire season, make the playoffs, and maybe lose their first or second playoff game, and they get knocked out. And when Daniel Jones finally plays that playoff football, and he goes out there and has a bad game, because I don't know. From his history tells you a team like this goes to the Super Bowl. Good defense, good run game, quarterback not making mistakes. That's literally what gets you to the dance. But
Yeah,
I, just- I just can't say it. Like Daniel Jones,
feel
like
you.
I can't say Daniel Jones is gonna make the Super Bowl. I really can't. I can't even see Daniel Jones winning two playoff games. But I've been wrong
Yeah,
before. I picked him against the I picked the Broncos against them. But hey, I don't care. I was right on that pick. But I was right
yeah.
about that pick. But leverage. I was right.
They won it in our case.
Yeah, I can't give him the Broncos one, man. The leverage call was so dumb. But then I picked the one team I picked against them that thought it was probably a bad pick. I can't remember who played them. I think the Colts blew them out. Was it the Raiders?
Yeah,
Yeah. So that was the pick. I was like, why did I pick the Raiders? I picked the Raiders against them. The Raiders, they smoked the Raiders. I feel like everyone's smoking the Raiders. And then this week, I picked the Chargers against them. I did pick the Rams. See, I picked against them 4 games. I'm 1-3 on. I mean, to me, I'm 2-2. I don't care. The Broncos leverage. I don't care. To me, I'm 2-2. But technically, I'm 1-3. I've picked against them in 4 games. I picked the Raiders, which was just a dumb pick. I picked the Chargers. They went out there and proved to me they're a good team now as they beat the Chargers. And then I picked my Rams, and I knew my Rams were going to go out there and win. I had the Rams as a lock of the week play that week because I was like, "There's no way we're losing to the Daniel Jones, Indianapolis Colts." So, but yeah, to answer the question, maybe in like 3-4 weeks, if they still only have one loss in 3 or 4 weeks, I'm gonna have to sit there and be like, "Damn, they are Super Bowl contenders." Like I think I have to say it, but as of right now, I can't do it yet. I really can't. I know 6-1. It's very hard to be 6-1 in this NFL, but I just can't give it to them. Daniel Jones at quarterback, I really can't. Like I can't say they're Super Bowl contenders. Honestly, I really not to me, I can't. But staying with the Colts because I just said I can't see Daniel Jones being a Super Bowl contender, quarterback. But there's one guy I can't see as a a Super Bowl contender running back, and that's Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is having a great season. This man's going basically over 100 yards per game. Like he's having like on doing honestly what Saquon did last year. What Saquon was doing last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's kind of what Jonathan Taylor's doing right now. He's on track to have as many touchdowns as the Daniel Thompson did in that early season with the Chargers. I can't remember what year was that. Was that '07? I can't remember the exact year.
Yeah, oh
'07.
06, oh 07.
Yeah, it was '06, '07 when Tom Tomlinson had all those touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor's damn near almost going to the 4-2. I think he has like 10 rushing touchdowns right now within 7 weeks. So it's pretty wild. The next question, I feel like I just answered it because you guys already probably gonna know my answer, and probably Heads probably gonna agree with me. Is as of right now in the MVP, because you have to put one of these guys in the MVP conversation right now, honestly, because there's 6-1, how good they're playing. You have to put them in the MVP conversation, probably at least one of them. Who is more the MVP candidate? Jonathan Taylor or Indiana Jones, as I say, Indiana Jones. This one, guys, I have to go with Jonathan Taylor. I really do, just because, oh, like I said, over 100 rushing yards, damn near every single game, 10 touchdowns. He's on track to tie or even break the Daniel Tomlinson record if he keeps this up. And the offensive line is just working wonders with him. Like he's having a hole every single time he touches the ball. There's a hole wide open. He's just running the ball down. Like one thing I have to say about Jonathan Taylor, he has a game-winning drive. When has a running back had a game-winning drive? I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was 2 games ago. Can't remember who they played. The game was they were down, I believe. I gotta look at the schedule, but they were down going into with like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They ran the ball every play all the way down the field and scored a touchdown to basically and won the game with like a minute left. I've never seen a run personally me. I've never seen a running back have a game-winning drive where he ran the ball every single play all the way down the field and then scored and they won the game. Like I've never seen it. I've never seen a running back have a game-winning drive like that. So to me, it's hands down Jonathan Taylor. I believe he's the captain of this team. He's leading this team, and I know Daniel Jones is the quarterback, and quarterbacks usually get that MVP slide a lot of times, but not this time, in my opinion. I have to give it to Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to him as well. I said it before. He's pretty much my favorite running back in the league since last season, and
Hmm.
I just really like his game. I like how he finds these holes, and even if it's just a small little window of opportunity, he's gonna make the most out of it. He plays like a very old school running back, and I
Hmm.
like that. Like he just looks so very confident out there, and he's that back to where like you just said, like he could be on the team. Obviously he's on the Colts, but like you could run the ball 5 6 times in a row when it's clutch time to kind of to win the game, and you can entrust in him that he's going to get y'all down the field. Like y'all don't even need to worry about passing the ball unless you really have to, but for the most part you don't, because you got him back there. So um not to discredit because Daniel Jones is having a pretty royal season so far too, but Jonathan Taylor is literally and is legitimately carrying that offense on his back right now. So it's really no question that I feel like he really is a runner up for MVP, and that's really wild to say because other than really Saquon, like what other hey Kitty, what other um how many running backs we've really seen within the last decade or so have really making a statement that like yeah, he arguably is not only just the best player on his team but really making a strong case for MVP candidate. So between them two, yeah, man, I'm gonna definitely have to go with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I feel like it's honestly a no-brainer. Like I get it. One's a quarterback, and quarterbacks tend to get that slump, that little slide over running backs in the MVP conversation. But these are one of that times, just like Saquon last year. Like it has to be the running back that gets this nod, honestly. But like now we'll get into a
I want to
huh?
I just want to say one last thing about the Colts. It's like not to compare them, obviously, because this is a different team in a sense, but and I'm not trying to jinx it either down the road for them, because I mean, as much as I didn't believe in them before, I do wish them the best success moving forward. Is that I feel like because we have just brought up, or you just brought up the topic of like, are they Super Bowl contenders? But
Uh huh.
I'm like, it's going to be hypothetically, is this going to be one of those seasons where, if I had to compare it, I forget what year it was, but it was like, I think during the COVID season or the year prior to it, when it was one of those years where Pittsburgh almost damn near went undefeated. But then when they got into the playoffs, it was like, everybody had them high hopes, like, oh, the Steelers and Mike Tomlin might lead them back to the big stage again, but
Hmm.
they just end up getting bounced out like the first or second round or whatever. I think it was a Jacksonville that took them out,
Yes, it was
and
Jackson. I think yes, it was Jacksonville.
yeah, it was Jacksonville. I think Blake Bortles was the
Uh
quarterback or
huh.
somebody, and I was like, man. So I'm wondering. I'm like, are they really hyped up how the way they've been playing, or are they going to be, as soon as the postseason, the playoff starts, and then they're just like, okay, they starting to see that a lot of teams are getting the best out of them because not only they simply want it more, but they aren't playing the way that they have all season up until when it's time for them to make that run or that strong push. So I'm just like I said, not trying to compare the Steelers and the Colts, but I'm wondering if it's going to be one of those seasons for the Colts where they only lose one or two, maybe three games at that. Then all of a sudden, once the playoffs come, then it just shocks everybody. Like, well, you guys were that top five team, but then,
Hmm. Yeah, we're gonna get into our top five teams right now, but this is not my top five. Like what I'm trying to say, this has nothing to do with my top five teams in the NFL right now. But the one thing I can say is who I can trust more in the playoffs. Like they're not saying who's better right now, but the teams I can trust more in the playoffs are I can trust the Rams more. I can trust the Lions more. I feel like I can trust the Packers a little bit more, and I feel like I can trust the healthy Buccaneers more, and I feel like I can trust Philly more. That's five teams I can trust more in the NFC. And then if I go into the AFC, the teams I can trust more over there, I can trust the Bills more. I can trust the Chiefs more, and I can trust. And right now, I don't. It's hard to say, but I feel like I can trust Denver more just because how good that defense is. Like, but there's three teams in the AFC. There's a lot of teams I can trust more to win the Super Bowl or show up in the playoffs than the Indianapolis Colts right now. But yeah, so yeah, that's basically it for all I have to say about the Colts. But yeah, we'll see how they go on moving forward. And now, guys, we're getting into the Jayden Daniels and the Commanders. Jayden Daniels and the Commanders went out there and they lost the game to the Cowboys. Jayden Daniels appeared to get injured again. I think it was a hamstring injury. I think it was this time another leg injury for him. I said it a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was like, I didn't want this to happen, but I had a feeling was going to happen. Is Jaden Daniels injury prone? Do you think this is the beginning of Daniels being injury prone? And I'll go first, since I already had a big hot take on this a couple weeks ago, and it seems like it's kind of coming true. Even though I knocked on some wood and I didn't want it to happen, but it seems like it's coming true. I say yeah. I think Jayden Daniels is going to get hurt in the NFL a lot. Like, I think he's going to have a decent career, but I don't believe he's going to be that top echelon quarterback for everyone thought he was going to be. I compared him to RG3. I compared him to
mhm,
like he had the same body type as RG3. He's not as fast as RG3, and he arguably throws the ball maybe just as good as RG3 did, but RG3 was a little faster on the running side. But I brought up their legs. Like, they have really skinny legs. You can't have your legs that really skinny in the NFL. You're gonna end up hurting yourself. And the last time he got hurt, it was a leg injury. This time he got hurt, another leg injury. I know it was a hamstring. Hamstrings are not like usually you get hit and all your hamstrings are usually pull it or something like that happens. But it just seems like another leg injury. And God forbid he comes out there next and now he's overcompensated for his hamstring and then his knee goes out. So
yeah.
or maybe someone hits him because he can't move as fast around the pocket because his hammy's hurting, and then he gets his knee knocked in. So I think I'm gonna say yeah, I really do believe it. Because I was believing it a few weeks ago when he first got hurt. I was like, this is kind of what I thought was gonna happen when he came to the NFL. Like, I thought he had a great talent, but I just thought he was gonna get hurt because he's too skinny in my opinion, and he needs to put some weight on him. So I'm gonna say yeah because I've already thought this before it even happened, and now it's starting to happen now. So yeah, I'm gonna say yeah, I do believe this is the beginning of Jaden Daniels being a little injury prone in his career.
JD, man. Yeah. So far, this man cannot just stay healthy for the life of him. It just seems like it's just a same cycle of the same revolving injury, which is his lower half of the body and it's specifically his legs. Um, regardless of how this season plans out, obviously he'll probably end up coming back at some point.
Hmm.
He really needs to consider bulking up and getting those legs yoked up if he wants to last longer in this league. You know, it's sad to say, just like to your point, he not to really compare it because that's what a lot of Commander fans have been really trying to ask everybody to not make those comparisons. But it's like, yo, right now, the way that he's going, especially so young in his career, um, yeah, he may be, if not just as like you said, more accurate in terms of throwing the ball like how RG3 was. But at the same time, he's getting hurt just like him. The only difference
Hmm.
is he hasn't tore anything just yet, knock on wood. But it's like you he has the legs of like a skilly, like he could just go and play like a inside receiver, go play like like a speed back somewhere. But
Yeah.
as a quarterback, man, you to sustain in those pockets, man, you really need to, you need to do leg days more than anything else when you go hit the gym because you can only do yeah, I get it, you're the quarterback. You want to stay up top in tip top shape and make sure, your throwing arm and everything else is working. But if you, especially somebody like him, where obviously he has moments where he can stay in the pocket, but when really need it be, he's like not comparing him either, but I'm like you're trying to be like Lamar Jackson out there. You're gonna try to use your
Yeah.
legs when nobody else is open. So, and if you're gonna be that type of quarterback to where you're trying to get out the pocket a lot or put yourself out there to gain these first downs, it starts from literally from the bottom up of your body. So
Hmm.
you have to get bigger. You have to get stronger within that because I felt like if anything he would have learned from last season, but clearly he's still in the same shape as he was. So he just thought that okay, I'm gonna try to see how my sophomore year goes, and clearly he's looking like he's gonna go into his little slump in his second year. So um yeah, if he's gonna want to sustain being a healthy quarterback moving forward. Not even just even if he ends up with a different team in the near future, hypothetically, everybody's going to look at that, or especially the strength and conditioning coach is going to be like, "Look, man, you you got cinnamon sticks from Apple Jacks. Like you really need
Hmm.
to you really need to go do something about that because all it takes is like as we seen during the Dallas game, you land wrong or you got somebody who's like 3, 4 times heavier than you and you just, you're going down and if it's not your knee, it's your ankle. Something is bound to give out. So um that's really what I feel like he needs to kind of improve on. His play on the field for the most part. When he's on it, he's pretty decent, but is him staying healthy, and it just seems like it's one thing if it's just like, oh, it was his legs before up until last season, now it's his shoulder or something and he's working around it, but clearly it's the same injury and it's your leg, so he's just not going to last very long. He simply just needs to, like I said, hit that weight room harder, do more leg days than anything else, and hopefully that could help him out in the long run.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hit the leg day. Make sure he gets bulked up, especially this off season. That's what you want to do. Like even Lamar had to do it. Lamar did it. Lamar came in very skinny, and Lamar was getting hurt his first couple years towards the end of the season. And then he got bulk. He got pretty bulky. Now Lamar is able to do all that extra running. And Lamar's smart. Lamar runs out of bounds. Lamar slides when he needs to. And that's what you need to learn. That's one thing Russell Wilson had to learn a lot coming into his career. He had to slide because beginning of Russell's career, I was worried about Russell. Russell would go in there and he would try to take some hits because he thought he was big enough. And then Russell's like, you know what? Towards the second, third year, Russell's like, you know what? I'm just gonna slide. Like, I'm gonna learn how to
Yeah.
slide. And same thing with RG3. And one thing about RG3 is he learned how to slide after his knee was already gone. And that's what he learned how to slide. Then he started. Then I remember RG3 hurt his knee on the slide. Like he slid and he hurt his knee.
Yeah.
And so it was like, man, like. But I hope Jaden can do that and strengthen those legs. Stay away from Juju Watkins because women weaken legs. You guys know what they say. So you guys ever watch Rocky? He says, "Stay away from those women." He said, "Women weaken legs." But I don't know how true that is. But we gonna go with Mick on this one. Hey, stay away from all these women Even though Juju seemed like she a good girl for him, but at the same exact time, women weaken legs. You get in the leg day and start, yeah, don't go out there with those flamingo legs and start getting hurt. So he's just
Flamingo Daniels.
Flamingo Daniels, but we'll see how he comes back next year. Honestly, because I don't wish injuries on anybody. I don't want him to get hurt, but that was just a take I had when he first came into the league. I was like, I don't know if he's gonna be able to last. Same thing with Bryce Young. When Bryce Young came into the league, I was like, I don't know if Bryce Young's gonna be able to last. He's very small, he's very slim, but Bryce is starting to get a little thicker. Bryce is starting to learn that he's getting a little thicker now, but even Bryce is still getting hurt. He's very small, so that was one thing I didn't know too much about, but that's all I have to say about Jayden Daniels. I hope he gets some leg days in. Hopefully he stays healthy because he is a great talent coming into the draft, coming into the NFL. He was a great talent, and now he was starting to look at that top 5 quarterback spot. But now he's fallen out of probably the top 10 right now because just the injuries, the way he's been playing, because he can't play the way he wants to because he's injured all the time. So hopefully he comes back and he has a great rest of his career. Now, guys, we're going to get into the Los Angeles Rams right now. The Rams in London went out there and blew out the Jaguars. And we did a must win last week. And I said it was a must win for the Rams. Hez said it was a must win for the Jaguars. And I think Hez agreed. He said it was kind of like a double must win. He was like, it's a win for like both, must win from both. And both these two teams need a win.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I actually no, I said the Jaguars and you said the Rams. That's how we kind of I think that's how we did it actually last week. But the
Yeah,
Rams
that's
now sit at the Rams now sit at 5-2. They're 5-2. There's a three-way tie. We'll get into the NFC West. I have AFC West written right here, but you know what I meant. I meant AFC the NFC West. But we'll get into the NFC West next. They're 5-2 right now. They've been looking good the last couple weeks. Stafford's been looking really good. Stafford looks like he's a top 3 quarterback in the league right now. Stafford might be even be in that MVP conversation right now with how he's playing. Like I think he had 5 touchdowns last week against the Jaguars, and he was killing it without Puka Nakua. I thought that was going to be a big loss for us. I was like, dang, no Puka, what are we going to do? Devontae caught 3 touchdowns. Matthew Stafford threw for 5. He was hitting everybody out there. So Matthew Stafford's having a great game, a great game. But besides those 2 losses, I know we lost to the Eagles, but we should have won it. We lost to the Niners, we should have won it. But we should honestly, I should be sitting here telling you the Rams are undefeated, best team in the NFL, but we're not. But the question I have for you, Hez, since I led the other ones off, I will pass this to you. What do you think about my team? Are the Rams the best team in the NFC right now?
I honestly want to say they are definitely my pick as the front runners.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, before it was always like, you know, Detroit's up there. If the Eagles come back, they might be up there. But it's like, you know, I just at this point, I just want Philly to come out and prove me wrong that they're not really worth the hype, and don't really care for Philly in general. So it's like they're always going to try to. It's sad to say they're always going to be slighted by me in a way. I'm always looking for a team to have the upper edge against them. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's definitely up there between the Rams and the Lions of who's the top of that conference. But just for sure, at least coming into this week, I actually do want to pick the Rams because that blowout win against the Jags in London, it really just shows and proves how serious they really are moving forward. And not only that, but the team, as I mentioned before in recent weeks, that the team is just fundamentally sound. They as they are just very much established, as a team, and obviously they have one of the more, if not the youngest, defense out there, and they make a lot of noises out there. A lot of opposing teams that come into play, no matter who it is, or if they're one of the top teams in the league or even the last team. Everybody's scared to play against y'all or to
Mm-hmm.
to run the ball or even going up top. So it's just it's a crazy thing to watch, to be honest. Just shows how much they put fear into a lot of these teams. Um, but yeah, like I pretty much have them as the top just because simply not only they have them at the top, but I have them pretty much coming out like into the conference championship this year. So I really do feel like the Rams are truly the best team, and um, they just seem like they're not slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm happy you said it. You know why? I don't want to come out here and say I sound biased or not, but I do believe the Rams are the best team in the NFC right now. Like we should be undefeated. two bad mistakes where we not even one wasn't even a mistake. One was just historical. Two blocked field goals back to back against the Eagles. That game should have been won by us, but they just did not bounce our way. Another one, a bad decision where we decided to go for it on fourth down and try to run the ball, which was so dumb. Everybody knew you guys were going to try to run the ball. I was like, just kick the field goal against the Niners, tie the game. We're going to stop Mac Jones on the next one. Trust your defense, and then we will win the game. But since
I'm still
those
mad about that.
I am too, man. I am too. Thursday night football. I don't know if what's his name didn't get enough sleep because it wasn't the weekend. He was out partying with his supermodel wife and stuff like that, going out to dinner and stuff. And now he didn't get enough sleep for Thursday. And he came in there and said, "You know what? We got dinner plans tonight. I ain't trying to have another overtime or have this game go longer. Let's go do this." But I don't know what happened with Sean McVay is usually so smart. He made one of the dumbest decisions in my opinion, but besides that, we've been looking dominant. And we were dominating Philly. We just let them come back. I think we got a little too stagnant. We were dominating Philly in that first half. We just got stagnant and we let them come back and win the game. But there's been many times where we've looked like we're the best team in football, and right now I do believe we're the best team in the NFC. I know other teams are 5-2. I think there's five. Let me see, one, two. There's four other teams that are 5-2 right now in the NFC, and we're one of them. I think honestly, if I had to, I think you picked the two best teams too. I think it's gonna come down to us and the Lions. I think us and the Lions are probably the best teams in the NFC right now. And with the Lions beating a short-handed Buccaneers, where I don't know, I guess they looked really good. Jamar Gibbs is out there running all over the Bucs, but they did just lose to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they looked really bad. The secondary looked bad. It looked like they can be picked apart on the secondary side when people have weapons, and that's what the Rams do have. The Rams have weapons. They have a good quarterback in Stafford. That's arguably a top three quarterback in the league right now.
Mhm.
And we have a better defense than Detroit, in my opinion. I think we have the better coach than Detroit, and we have the better quarterback than Detroit. So I really believe we're at the top of the NFC right now. I told you before I had us going to the Super Bowl this year, so I'm hoping we can make the Super Bowl. I did not have us winning it, but I'm always wanting us to win a Super Bowl. But I have us going to the Super Bowl, and yeah, I just think we sit on top of the NFC right now. Like there's other teams that are right there with us. I know people are probably gonna say, "Well, you guys lost to Philly. How you guys better than Philly?" We were the better team that night. We were the better team that night. And the same thing with the Niners. We were the better team that night. It just I just don't see how we lost those games, to be honest. I should be sitting here like Rams are 7-0. I should be sitting here saying that, but no, we're not. But either way, 5-2 is not a bad record. We look dominant against the Jags. We blew them out in London, where usually Jaguars look good in London. Jaguars are kind of like they're home away from home because how many times they've had the game in London? It's kind of like they're home away from home. But
No,
the Rams went out there and smacked them around, and we just looked really good. And Stafford didn't even need Puka out there, and especially I feel like that shows with Puka not being there, and we still winning the game like that. It shows what we can do. The one thing that I feel like the Rams need to get a hold of is the penalties. Last year, we were the least penalized team on defense, and I was like, man, this defense is so young, so many rookies. How are we not getting that many penalties? It seems like it's transitioning to this year because we're getting some untimely penalties right now, and we need to get a hold of that from being the least penalized team on defense last year to now like one. I think it was like we're in the top 15 for most penalties in the league, and it's. I just want us to get a hold of that. We get a hold of that and stop giving up these easy yards. We're gonna even be a better defense. So yeah, I agree. I think we are the best team in the NFC right now.
yeah,
Yeah, and then now getting to the NFC West, like I said, there's a three-way tie. The Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers are all 5-2 right now. I think it's going to come down to these two teams because easily right now we just said we think the Rams are the best team in the NFC. So it's not going to be the Rams to answer this question. It's either going to be the Niners or the Seahawks. The question is, and I'll go first on this one, is who is the least trustworthy team in that division at 5-2? And right now, honestly, I'm going to say the 49ers. I'm going to say the 49ers just because, like, when Brock Purdy comes back, I've never been a fan of Brock Purdy. Like, I've never thought he was that trustworthy of a quarterback if he didn't have all the weapons. They have so many injuries on that team. I think Kyle Shanahan's a good coach, but there's only as much you can do with a
yeah,
team that has with all those injuries. And I feel like when playoffs come around, that might come back to bite them, or even later down the season. Because what if C-Mac gets hurt? C-Mac is injury prone. What if Brock Purdy gets hurt when he comes back again? You're gonna have to go with Mac Jones the rest of the season. What if Mac Jones gets hurt and now you have to go with a guy that's Gonzalez or something? There's a lot of things that could happen with them. So I do believe the 49ers is probably the least trustworthy team because the Seahawks defense is they had some bad spots on offense last week against I mean this past week, but against the Texans on Monday Night Football. But that defense looked legit, man. The defense was everywhere. They were getting the CJ almost every single play. They couldn't. That run defense is arguably the best run defense in the league with the Seahawks right now. Like nobody can run the ball on them. So I think the
Yeah.
Seahawks are right there, right behind the Rams. But if I had to say, I think the Niners, just with the injuries, Brock Purdy and the weapons not being there for him, Fred Warner might be out for the rest of the season. I think it was so. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think the 49ers are the least trustworthy team in that division.
Yeah, it's pretty clear cut, man, that the Niners are pretty much have a lot of odds stacked up against them, and not only with just the injuries, but just like you mentioned, even with the quarterback situation, because Mac Jones has been playing pretty well for the most part his first few starts, but then he ran into us and we just kind of beat them, and then um, they beat the Falcons, but that was kind of a lower scoring game. So either if the Falcons got on their game, they could have easily came back and won the game. But
Mhm.
they have a lot. They just simply have a lot to figure out, and with moving forward, so they might I might even expect a couple more losses before this season even ends for them so far. So um, as for the Seahawks, yeah, the defense has been it's been phenomenal. They have um, I forget his Leonard Williams out there. They have Demarcus Lawrence is looking like the old self himself when he
Yeah.
was Dallas. And I was just like, yeah, nobody can seem to run the ball against them. It just seems like it's like the total opposite of what we're coming into the season kind of predicting, because originally it was Sam Darnold carrying that team for the most part on offense. And then the defense wasn't really doing what they were supposed to do. Now it's the defense leading the way. So, but at the same time, Sam Darnold's getting back the ball, and he has still pretty a good game. Obviously, that's how they end up
Mhm.
winning. But he had like a few picks where it was like, hey man, like don't make this a habit. Like you guys are too talented to be doing that type of thing, especially with a semi pretty loaded offense at that. With Smith Najuba, and um, you got Walker back there, and you got Charbonnet back there. So you guys, they
And
really
he's
have
old.
a
Oh, and he's older, but he's more there for like a mentor at the moment. But you got Cooper Cup there as well.
yeah, and they got Coop, who just started to come back alive, because in the beginning they're just like, should he even have went to the Seahawks, but now
Mhm.
clearly he's helping them a lot out on, especially on offense. So, um, hopefully they can get that back together. But for the most part, even for right now, relatively speaking, I would still have them trusted more than the Niners, because yeah, it can go down really quickly for them. They just have to be glad that they have the record that they're at right now. But at the same time, like I said, they can easily just kind of let that go to waste. The next thing you know, they're putting themselves in a hole to try to come back up in that NFC West. So
Mhm.
yeah, I would definitely have to choose the Seahawks over them.
Yeah, I think we're both in agreement with that. Just with the Niners injuries, how good the defense of the Seahawks have been playing. Surprisingly, how good the offensive line's been playing. I thought they were going to have a horrible offensive line. The offensive line's actually sticking up right now. So, but I agree. We both are on the 49ers. Like they're 5-2, but I can easily see them being 5-4 in the next couple weeks. I can easily see that happening. So we'll see how the season turns out. But right now, Rams are the best team in that division. Seahawks right behind us. And then I have the 49ers like last. I mean, of course, the Cardinals are the worst team in that division. But the 5-2 teams, I think the Niners are the ones we can't trust at all. But guys, that is basically all of our topics for the NFL. Now we got three more topics the rest of the day. We're going to be getting into our top five MVP candidates because we're almost at midway through the season. So we're going to get to our top five MVP candidates. Then we'll get into our top five teams in the NFL like we always do every week. And then we're going to get into Thursday Night Football and give you guys our prediction for Thursday Night Football. So top five MVP candidates. Do you want to take the lead on this one? You want me to go, Hez?
Mm, you can go on this one.
Okay. My top five MVP candidates. Me and Hez do the same thing. We start from five and we go down to number one. At five, I have I have Jonathan Taylor. I think Jonathan Taylor is easily at the 5 spot as a running back. He has to be as the 5th spot for the MVP. He's having a great season. He's carrying these Colts teams. They're 6-1. They have the best record out of all these teams right now. But it's a running back that's doing it for them. So if he gets to that touchdown record of Danny Thompson, he might be the MVP this year, honestly. And they keep winning the games. You might have to give Jonathan Taylor the MVP. So I got Jonathan Taylor at 5. At 4, I have Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott's right there as well. I think Dak's having a great season, but the only reason why I have him so low is because he's 3-3-1. If he had a better record and they were 4-3, or if they were even 5-2, I'd probably have Dak at number 2 or maybe even number 1. But 3-3-1, I can't put you too high yet because of the record of your team. But Dak is having an
Right.
amazing year. The offense looks nasty, so I have Dak at 4. At that 3rd spot, I have Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is starting to pick up the pace a little bit. He's throwing about 5 touchdowns. He threw 3 last time against the Raiders. They just blew out the Raiders. So in the past 2 games, Patrick Mahomes has 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So Patrick Mahomes is starting to pick it up a little bit more. Patrick Mahomes, I see as of right now, is the MVP favorite in the betting odds right now, which I don't really understand it right now. But I guess it's Patrick Mahomes was always going to be there. But at 3rd, I have Patrick Mahomes. At 2, I have Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was at my number 1 spot, but after he had a bad game this past week where he just missed some throws, and it wasn't all it wasn't all on the injuries because Baker did miss some throws, and I feel like if he didn't miss those throws, the game could have been a little bit more competitive, and I would have still had him at number 1. But I have to bring him down to number 2, so I have Baker Mayfield at number 2. He just moved down from number 1 spot. And I remember for the MVP, and this guy is a stud, man. I've been saying it since he came into the league. I got Drake May. Drake May is at number 1 in my spot for MVP this year, right? As of right now. The Patriots are the Patriots. What is the record? Are the Patriots 5-2? I think that's what are they 5-2 or are they 4-2? I think they had a bye. They're either 5-2 or 4-2. I can't remember if they had a bye or not.
I think
I
four
think
and
they're four
two.
and
I
two.
have to double
I have to
check.
double check, but either way, they only have 2 losses. Either they had a bye and they're 4-2, or they're 5-2 right now. But Drake May is top 2 in passing yards right now. He's top 5 in passing touchdowns. He's top 5 in passing a percentage. This guy is doing wonders with that Patriots team right now. A lot of people didn't believe the Patriots were even going to have that good of a season. We did. We thought the Patriots would make the playoffs this year. But and we both said we thought Drake May was going to take that big step up, and he's actually doing it. I saw so many people talking trash on Drake May after last year, saying, "Oh, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. He could be another Mac Jones. He could go out there and have a bad season again." I see people saying, "Oh, after he had that bad loss, so I can't remember who they lost to. They had a bad loss this year where they lost a game they should have won. I can't remember, but we're in week 7, guys. I think they lost back in week 3 against someone they should have beat, but." After that, people were saying, "Oh, Drake May had a bad game. Is he going to start having a slump now?" This guy is just killing it. Even the games he loses, he's having a good game. He's having a good game himself. So at the number 1 spot, I have to put Drake May at my number 1 spot for MVP candidate right now.
Drake. No, I'm just kidding. No, but believe it or not, this is a I pretty much chose the exact same candidates in that order how you just
Mm,
mentioned it. Stuff from Jonathan Taylor literally leading up to Drake May. So yeah, I pretty much wholeheartedly agree. And yeah, I just think right now that's just the top 5 coming into this week right now because everybody is just seems to be on their game, and they're just proving to well, obviously the main one that's pretty much other than Drake May that's making a big statement that's not even a quarterback is Jonathan Taylor as we were talking
yeah,
about before. So yeah, I just feel like he deserves to kind of be on that list right now. And some people may disagree, and some people be like, well, how can you put him up against other quarterbacks or he's just started having a good year when that's not true. Like he's been a dog since he got drafted. So,
yeah.
the way that he runs through those lines is like Jeff Saturday is unretired. It's like, man. Um, but yeah, that's literally the same exact top 5 I had for MVP candidates.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised you actually have Drake May at number 1. That's very surprised. I thought I was going to be on an island over here having Drake May as my number 1 spot for MVP. But it seems like we're in agreement on that. You don't even have to go through the whole list number 1 by 1. You're like Wager Zone just gave me the whole entire list. So yeah,
Yeah.
we are on agreement on that one. So now I will pass it to you for the top 5 teams in the NFL. Who is your after week 7? Who is your top 5 teams in the NFL has?
Like usual, starting from the bottom up. At number 5, I'm gonna have to say the Drake-led Patriots. Um, they just are really playing good right now.
Oh,
You know, as we
5-2.
predicted,
I just saw 5
uh,
and 2.
5-2. Yeah, and this is exactly why they made the list, especially moving forward with this week. Um, put them at number 5 just because they really are playing some really good football led by Drake May, but that defense is just criminally underrated right now. I don't think they really get enough credit as much as we give them. Um, so yeah, they I don't really see them actually having to do too much actually to kind of keep up with the Bills. Like I feel like that's
Mhm.
really the Bills' really Achilles heel right now is having to worry about the Patriots coming up here because they're like literally right on their coattail, and this could go either way coming down to the wire in the season. So Patriots are really playing good right now, and that's why they definitely are in my listed at number 5. Number 4, I'm going to have the Chiefs.
Mhm.
Wouldn't think that they would jump up my list, but they seem like they're collectively starting to get everything back together. Especially after that loss they had against Jacksonville. I was like, man, I don't know if they're gonna come back from this. Just depends on how healthy they can get, but definitely Patrick Mahomes is looking back to the old self. That big win that they had against the Lions last week, it was a huge win for them offensively. Other than Pat, everybody seems to get all their touches. They're running the ball comfortably again. Travis Kelsey is not throwing too much of a tantrum. He's like, okay, cool. Like, you're getting me my touches. They just got Rice back, so that's a plus for them. Yeah, man. They and defense, we all know what they can do already. So yeah, they definitely deserve to be on my top 5 right now at number 4. At number 3, I'm going to have to say the Eagles.
Mhm.
Um, Still have a lot of concerns with these guys. Um, Obviously we had chose, or I kind of chose Minnesota to pretty much somewhat pull off an upset against the Eagles at home. Clearly, that was a big mistake, and sorry, Minnesota fans. The last time I'm rooting for y'all. Um, but yeah, I feel like if they can, even at them still trying to figure a lot of things out right now, and they're kind of wishy washy every week. They're still one of the best teams, whether people believe it or not. I have to kind of tell myself that. I'm like, man, it's the freaking Eagles. Like, I used to be a Cowboys fan. Why would I give them any credit? But I'm
Mhm.
like, it's them. When they're on their game, they're if they're one of the hardest teams to beat, other than like the Bills. So it's like, man, I don't really see too many teams stopping them for the most part moving forward, unless they just beat themselves up. So the Eagles are going to be number 3 on my list. Number 2, I'm going to have the Bills.
Mm.
The Bills, just because simply, despite that loss to the Patriots on Thursday night, they seem to not really have too many worries for the most part. It's like even if they do, it's just like the little things that can easily be adjusted, and they can they can easily just turn it up a notch and getting back to playing winning football, and especially starting with Josh Allen. He's just an amazing football player, and he uses everything to an advantage. Like he can pretty much throw without even looking at you, almost like a Patrick Mahomes, but just in his own
Mhm.
way. Um, the Bills just seem like they are starting to slowly figure things out. They lost to Atlanta, but it was it it wasn't the worst thing in the world, and um, arguably so, they're still competing at a high level. So I still feel like I want to put them at that, at least for this week coming up, that they're a top 2 team. Number 1, believe it or not, just like how I feel like not only they're the top in the NFC, but I feel like the Rams are the best team right now. Just because like I stated earlier, like they just really look like they're fundamentally sound, and they're just you know they're really a force to be reckoned with, especially like, offense. Everybody is expecting, like, you got Puka out there, you got Devontae, you got Matthew Stafford. That doesn't look like he's stepping down or taking a step down anytime soon. Um, running game is low key underrated as well, with
Hmm.
Kyron out there. So they really look good, but it's just again that defense, man. They're just some. They really swarm to the football. Like no matter what down it is, what quarter, if it's going into halftime, is rather if they're going into a big league. Like that's one thing I've noticed too. When they started playing when they were already ahead of the Jags by so many points in that game, they didn't let the foot off the gas. And that's what I do appreciate about your team is that everybody is collectively working together, but they just they're not taking any plays off. They really are just being like, okay, from the minute this ball is hiked from the first quarter to the end, we're gonna keep going at them no matter what the score is. So yeah, that's why they made the top of my list this week, not only for the NFC but in the league.
Yeah, let's go Rams, best team in the NFL. That's what Hezzy Hybrid just said. I like the sound of Hez saying we're the best team in the NFL, man. But now I'll get into my top five teams that a week. Actually, not the week. Going into week 8, who I think the top five teams in the NFL are. At 5, I have to do it. I can't. I mean, I don't believe in them, but I have to put them there. At 5, I'm gonna have to go Indiana. I think the Indianapolis Colts are to the fifth best team in the NFL. They're 6-1. Their team looks good everywhere at the moment. I don't trust them going into the playoffs, but I think I have to put Indy in the top 5 just with how good Jonathan Taylor's playing. Daniel Jones isn't making mistakes. Um, that defense is playing really well. They have the best offensive line in the league right now, so I have to put Indiana at 5 with just 6-1. I guess I can't stop. I can't not put them in the top 5 this week. So Indiana, I'm gonna go at 5. At 4, I'm going the Denver Broncos. I think the Broncos are the fourth best team in the NFL right now. Like I had them at 3 last week, but I moved them down a spot because they almost lost that game to the Giants. They had that miraculous comeback in the fourth quarter, though. Bo Nix led the greatest comeback in that fourth quarter, won the game for them. Their defense started getting
What was that, like
stopped.
30 points in the fourth?
Yeah, they scored 29 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win the game. So, yeah, like I have to put him at. I know I have to put him at 4. That defense is legit. They had that great comeback, so they were 3 last week. So I moved them down a spot just because they almost lost to the Giants. They almost lost that one, so I have to bring them down one spot. So Indy at 5, then the Denver Broncos at 4. 3, I'm gonna go Detroit. I think Detroit, it just coming off of that win against the Buccaneers, they looked really good again. We had Detroit as the number 1 team before. Then I moved them down. I think to the third, to like I think I moved them down to the second spot. Now they're down at 3, just because one team I put at 2 it just looks like they're getting better and better. So I have Detroit down to the third spot. The second spot in the league, I have to give it to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Kansas City Chiefs I'm putting at 2 just because they're starting to look really good. That offense is putting up numbers. They're starting to look. This might be the best offense they've had since that Tyreek Hill and Kelsey year. That Mahomes went out there in his second year in the league and third year in the league, just had the dynamic offense. It looks like they're putting up a light show over there. And yeah, I just believe the Chiefs are just playing so well right now with how good that offense is. I know they're 4-3, but I have to put them as the second best team in the NFL. Then at number 1, me and Hez are in agreement. I have the Los Angeles Rams as the best team in the NFL this week. I had the Rams at 3rd last week. But after we just blew out the Jaguars, the Jaguars have a good defense. And how good we're playing in London. We went to a whole different time zone. Like even worse than the Jacksonville Jaguars. We had to travel from Los Angeles all the way to London. They're a lot closer. They're 3 hours ahead of us in Jacksonville. So we had to go even worse time zone, go to London, and we still went out there and we won the game at 6:30 in the morning for LA time. We went out there, we won the game, we dominated it. Matthew Stafford's looking great, and the main reason why I have us at number 1 too is because we had no Puka Nakua. And Matthew Stafford went out there and showed that even without Puka's gonna come back and get his numbers. But without Puka there, 3 touchdowns to Devontae, and then our defense was like we were just getting after Trevor Lawrence, and we just looked really good overall. And I have to give the Rams the #1 spot. So give me the Rams. We both are in agreement that we both think the Rams are the best team in the NFL this week. Honorable mentions, I think Heads probably will name a couple too. I had a couple teams tied at 6. I wanted to put them in there, but there were just too many good teams this week. I had to take Tampa Bay out because and then losing the game to Detroit, and with no Mike Evans, and I don't know if he's going to come back. And Emeka Buka looks like he was still kind of hurt. I had to take the Buccaneers out. It hurt my heart to take them out of there because I had them as the best team in the NFL last week, and then they came in and lost to Detroit. And they had the significant injury, so I had to take them out of my top 5. The other team I almost put in there too was the Philadelphia Eagles, but just with the chemistry issues, I just want to see a couple more weeks if they can go in there and keep that chemistry together. I know they beat the Rams, but the Rams looked like the better team that day. They just blew the game. The Rams, if you guys watched the game, the Rams looked better than the Eagles. We looked like we were just a better team. We just blew the game. And the game was played in Philly too, so that kind of helped as well. But I had the Eagles like right there at the 6th spot too. And the other team I had there right at the 6th spot that I did not put in was the New England Patriots. I wanted to put Drake May in the top 5, but personally, I was either them or Indy, and I had to put Indy in there at number 5, being 6-1. I almost took Indy out, and I put the New England Patriots, but I being 6-1, I had to take them out. So that's my top 5. I'll repeat it one more time. Top 5 is the Colts at 5, Denver at 4, Detroit at 3, Chiefs at 2, and the Rams at 1.
Yeah, that's a real solid list. I'm not even confident with my list. I was just kind of coming up with before we started this. So there's a lot of teams I have. There's a couple teams actually I gotta scratch off and replace. But then
It's
Detroit being
hard.
one.
I was this hard. I mean, it was hard this week. It was like looking at all those teams that are 5-2, 6-1, and the Chiefs being 4-3. But you have to put the Chiefs in there. This week was very hard to choose a top 5.
Yeah, and if there's an honorable team that I wanted to mention in there is the is the Mustangs from Gridiron Gang. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, I know definitely the list will probably change within the next, probably when we get into the next episode. But so far, it's yeah, I'm just kind of winging it, and um, I wanted to definitely. It was between the Patriots and the Broncos, and I just ended up choosing the Patriots. I think I want to
Mhm.
put the Broncos instead of the Patriots because not to knock off what they're doing, but definitely the Broncos did deserve to be on the top 5 this week. If they, especially because they came back. If they end up losing, then obviously I'll probably put
Yeah,
New
they
England.
would have been out of my top 5. They lost that game.
Yeah,
So you're moving the Patriots in. I mean, moving the Patriots out and putting the Broncos at 5.
yeah, and
Okay,
then I'll probably scratch off the Chiefs at 3 and put the Lions as well at number 3.
and Lions at 3, and the Chiefs out of the top 5.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay, yeah, yeah, because I get it. The Chiefs are 4-3. We have to see what they can come forward a little more. But like I said, this week was probably the hardest week to choose the top 5. I was sitting here like I had my list, but then I started looking at the records and I was like, I gotta remember exactly how the season's been going. But yeah, but I think one thing we're in agreement that we both think the Rams are the best team in the NFL. Let's see if we can keep it up, honestly, because the Rams. Do we have a bye this week? Rams do have a bye this week, so we're on a bye this week. So we'll see. We'll see if the Texans can beat the Niners to get the Niners out of that 5-2 spot, and then I believe the Seahawks have a bye too. So the Rams and Seahawks are on a bye. So, but I think we are the best team in the NFL. So now,
Yeah,
guys, after our top 5, we have given you guys. We're gonna get into Thursday Night Football. Give you guys our predictions for Thursday Night Football before we get out of here. Tomorrow, we have the Vikings going into LA and playing the Chargers, two teams that I picked to win last week, and they both lost, and they both were very disappointing losses last week. Honestly, the Chargers losing to the Colts, the Vikings going and losing to the Eagles. Two teams that are just better than both of them. Honestly, they just look better out there. I picked both of them, but they just did not show up. But this one, I'll lead this one off. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I can't trust the Vikings right now. The Vikings with I think is Carson Wentz still starting for them? I think coming into this week, or who's a starter for them this week? Let me see. Yeah, it's gonna
I
be
don't know.
Carson. I think it's
I
gonna be
don't.
Carson once again. What was that?
No, I said I don't think McCarthy is starting this week.
I don't think so either. So I think it's gonna be Carson Wentz again. He threw two picks and looked really bad last week against the Eagles, and I think he's gonna come out here and look bad against the Chargers, especially with the Chargers being at home. I think the Chargers win this game. I think they win comfortably. Honestly, I think Harbaugh's gonna. They have the Chargers are in a must win. The Eagles are not really in a must win because nobody. I mean, the Eagles, the Vikings are not in a must win because nobody really expected the Vikings to do much anyway. That much this year anyway. But I had high hopes for the Chargers, just like a lot of people had high hopes for the Chargers this year. And this is a must win. They lose this game at home to the Vikings, their season is over. So, especially with how good Denver and the Chiefs coming up now. So, Chargers are in a must win this week. So, I'm taking the Chargers. I think the Chargers win this game 24-14 because I just think the Vikings are not going to be able to score that many points. So, give me the Chargers 24-14.
Yeah, I'm just gonna come out and say I'm not rooting for Minnesota ever again like that. That's just they don't care about me that much. They're just like, oh, okay, he's rooting for us this week. Let's just kind of prove him wrong. So, um, I also feel like the Chargers are gonna win comfortably this game. I don't think they're gonna have too much of a problem with Minnesota, especially on their defense. And then offensively, I just don't think that Carson Wentz is gonna have much of a field day against the Chargers. So,
Hmm.
um, a prediction of a score, I'm gonna go 27-17 Chargers.
You said 27-17 Chargers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems realistic. Me and you're only 3 points off, but it seems like it's gonna happen. I see them winning like by 10 points. Like I don't know what the spread is on the betting odds right now, but I think the Chargers cover. They should cover. This is a must win for them. So yeah, we both need the Chargers going to win this game. You said 27-17. I said 24-14. It looks like the Chargers are going to win this game. To be honest, I ain't even gonna lie to you. They just look like they're the better team, and going into with a must win, they have to win this game. But all right, guys,
Yeah.
go ahead, Hez.
They
Before
well, one thing I am pretty somewhat excited about is that they're switching from those horrific yellow on yellow uniforms last week to the to I guess they're debuting their navy blue uniforms like they used to wear in
oh,
San Diego.
okay,
So okay, and I was like, that's the Chargers I remember. So
yeah.
hopefully they
That's
end up playing
the
lights out.
superchargers. They always call them the superchargers.
Yeah, the Superchargers, back in the Seau days, and then obviously, LT and Chambers out there and Antonio Gates, the good old days. So, um, yeah, I'm pretty excited to see them debut those uniforms for the most part. But other than that, it should be an easy win for them.
I think it's so too. And like they're 4-3. They lose this game and they go 4-4. Like I don't know what the Charger season is going to be. Like maybe the injury was too significant with them losing their offensive lineman or a couple offensive linemen before the season because they should not come out here and lose to a Carson Wentz led Vikings team. They should not. So but yeah, guys, that is it. That's our all of our topics for today. So there's for after the snap episode 15. Before we get out of here, like always, Hez, is there anything in the NFL you saw this week that I did not have a topic on that you want to talk about?
Not too much. I think just one other thing is that, um, what's your opinion about the whole comment of the owner saying about Justin Fields?
What did he say about Justin Fields? I didn't see that.
Basically, I guess, not quote me from exactly from word, but apparently, because I just seen this yesterday, that the person had asked him, or the reporter asked him, like, hey, well, what's the reasons for you guys going 0-7? And instead of being, this is the owner, it's not even the GM. The owner came out and straight out flat was like, yeah, like basically, like Justin Fields sucks. Like, not like that, but like in other words, like he was like, yeah, like, you can't do much with a quarterback like that. And I was just like, wow, not even trying to mention Aaron Glenn could possibly be the reason for that, or just the team is just all around is not that good. He just specifically went down, like kind of like similar to Miami, like how the coach was just throwing Tua under the fire. But this it was with the Jets. It was the owner that literally was just like, "Yeah, it's Justin Fields," and I was just like, I mean, like, I get it. He's not playing the best, and it's Justin Fields, but I'm like, dude, like that's kind of. It's kind of unprofessional for the most part. Like he straight out just said his name and was just like, it's all on him." And I'm like, "Bro, you can't possibly really think it's just Justin Fields."
I agree. That's kind of messed up for an owner to say, especially like, well, I mean, I guess I understand it. Like, did he lie though? I don't think he lied. But the point is, you're the owner. You shouldn't be saying stuff like that. And I feel like the reason why
Yeah,
I feel like the reason why he said that is because the reason why he's not throwing any shade at Aaron Glenn is because that was his hire. He hired Aaron Glenn,
right.
so he was like, you know what, I'm gonna protect my asset, Aaron Glenn, and I'm gonna go after the guy that the GM hired. The GM was here before I was even here because right now the owner for the Jets, the actual owner for the Jets is on like a embassy, like an England, and I forget he has like an ambassador role somewhere else right now. So he kind of passed over the ownership to like I don't know if it's like an assistant owner or something like that, but that's who probably made that comment because the other guy he is working like an ambassador for like London or something like that right now. Woody
Yeah,
Johnson. Well, it was
Woody.
wait,
Yeah,
hold on. What was it? Woody Johnson that said that, or was the other guy?
it was the other guy.
Yeah, see, Woody Johnson is the actual owner of the Jets, but right now, like the co-owner or something like that's running the team. And I feel like he threw shade at Justin Fields because that's Woody Johnson's hires. He hired the GM. This new guy hired Aaron Glenn, and now he's trying to protect his asset, Aaron Glenn, and now he's probably just trying to throw shade at everyone else. Like, see, I didn't know, I wasn't the one that signed them, so I should be fine. But that's very unnecessary. He shouldn't have said that. Like, Woody Johnson will come back and be like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, that's the reason why you're not on the. That's why you don't own the team. That's why you're not on the front of page of the newspaper every single time. But so, yeah, oh yeah, I don't understand that. I didn't even know that till you told me right now. Wow, that's kind of something very dumb for an owner to say. But that's the Jets for you, right? That's the Jets.
I just felt bad because I was like, I mean, Justin Fields for the most part, like off the field, he's a real cool dude, but and he's had some signs that he was, probably going to be a little bit better when he played with Pittsburgh. Obviously,
Hmm.
Bears was history, but I'm like, okay, yeah, he has a chance. Obviously, they haven't won a game yet, but it's like, bro, you can't just single-handedly deliberately call this man's name out like that and being like, "Yeah, it's all on him." When it's like, "Yo, like the defense is trash too, like so blame some on them. They can't stop anybody." And there was points in early in the season where we thought, "Okay, this might be a breakout year for Justin Fields." So you can't entirely
Yeah.
blame it on that man.
If I
It's
had to
just
pick, I was
all
gonna say, if I had to pick anybody that whose fault the Jets playing bad or now, I think it's Aaron Glenn. I think it has to be Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, because everybody's clearly just like, yeah, like regardless of your career that you had, you're obviously one of the more memorable corners that ever played for that franchise. Is I get it. On paper, it seemed like it was a good thing, but then clearly it's not translating that onto the field. So, and I don't even think Garrett Wilson really cares for the dude like that because he's been arguing with him before the half. So it's like
Hmm.
I don't know. It's a lot they have to figure out, but everybody that isn't even a fan of the Jets that are just fans of the game are just like, yeah, I don't really know if that was necessarily the best hire because he should have just kind of stayed at his position coach before when he came to the Jets. So right now, Aaron Glenn doesn't even look like he's made for being a head coach.
Yeah.
But not to throw shade at him and like that, but that's what everybody else was more concerned about. Like, are you guys sure that's the main guy you want to run this show with? But yeah, it was that owner wasn't even or co-owner, sorry, wasn't even trying to actually, make it professional or being like, yeah, well, we got to weigh our options or, everybody's still trying to see where they're at, well, in terms of the chemistry with each other. He just said, no, it's Justin Fields. And I'm like, damn, like I just feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, but that's the Jets for you, right? Like the Jets have always been a shitty organization, to be honest. Like they don't ever get anything right. Everything goes wrong for them. They had one good year with Rex Ryan, and then they had look what they did. Like the only time they were actually having a good team is when they had Rex Ryan as coach, and then they blamed Rex Ryan. And they got rid of him. So it just seems like
Yeah.
it seems like they just don't do anything right. And then the one thing I could say too is that they are 0-7, but that whole 0-7 isn't on Justin Fields at all. Like you can't just go and only blame him. Maybe look in the mirror a little bit and look at yourself. Maybe your attitude, the way you've been, the reason why you're walking around with the attitude is making these players don't even like you as well. So yeah, I'm just very surprised he said
Yeah.
that. kind of dumb thing for an owner to say, especially about your quarterback that's going to go out there and play the Nets game. So you know, when now he's going to go out there and play the Nets game for you, and you're over there talking about him. If I'm Justin Fields, I'm just hiking the ball and I'm just looking for the defenders. Like, here, catch this. Here, you too, catch that. Like, but I swear,
Fumbles on purpose, like,
yeah.
oops.
Says hike. Oh, dang. Oh, dang. Look at the owner box. Like, point. But yeah,
Just
that's
spike
it.
it on purpose.
Yeah, but I don't understand it. Yeah, that's just very dumb. Anything else in the NBA, NFL that I did not know about?
Nah, that's pretty much it. I just seen a reel the other day. It had to be much as of recently, but it was just like, you know, some regular white dude. He walks up and he has like one of those mini mics, like, you know, the people that just come to ask random fans at a game, like, oh, you know, what do you think about this? What do you think about your team or whatever? He asked like some young, I don't know if he
Did
was even the
you
team.
did you send me that or did I see that same video?
I don't think I sent it, but
I
I'm
saw
pretty
the
sure you
same
have
exact
saw it.
video. I saw the
When he
same
asked
exact
him,
thing.
he was like, "What do you know about the Jets or whatever?" He was just like, "I hate this team. I hate everything about them." He was like, "I'm unfortunately probably I was born into this or whatever. I'm probably gonna be a fan for life or whatever or something like that." But he was just like, "I," with a serious face, like,
About to
"Nah, man, I
cry.
hate."
Tears in his eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hate this team. I hate everything about it. Like,
You know who wants to buy the Jets so bad, but I don't know if he's ever gonna have enough money to do it. But he's always said I want to buy the Jets when he's a giant Jets fan, but he hates the team too. Is Gary V. Gary V is a
really?
giant Gary V is a giant Jets fan. Like he's diehard Jets, like all the way. He just like, I hate this team, guys. He's like, they bring my blood pressure up. They suck. He says if I ever become a billionaire, he says, because Gary V's rich, but he's not like Woody Johnson rich. But Gary Vee said, if I when I have he because Gary Vee's, he's not going to say if I have money. He says when I have enough money. He says I'm going to buy this team and we're going to start playing good. Like Gary Vee's been saying that for like 5-6 years now. He's like, I'm eventually going to buy this damn team. We're going to start winning because he says this team just sucks and they bring my blood pressure up. So, but yeah, Gary Vee's a giant Jets fan and he just every time I see the Jets lose, I'm like, I feel bad for Gary Vee. Gary Vee probably sitting in his house like throwing his wine bottle like fuck man. Like, but yeah, again, man. All right, guys. That's going to be it for episode 15 of After the Snap. We went into all of our topics. We'll be back here on Saturday to give our entire predictions for the Sunday slate. Last week, we actually had a pretty good slate, both of us. We actually had really good predictions last week. I think we got like 2 or 3 games wrong, and that was like we had the Chargers and we had the Vikings. Those were like 2 of them. But besides that, I feel like we did very well last week. Excuse me. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for After the Snap 15. If you guys are here for the first time, like the video, subscribe. If you guys are still watching 2 hours into this episode after repost, I appreciate you. You are a diehard being here for 2 hours watching this episode with us. And like I said, guys, subscribe After the Snap episode 15. We will be back Saturday to give our Thursday night football talks, and we will break down the entire Sunday slate for you guys. And I'm the Wager Zone signing off. And Hez, you want to say about other people before we get out of here?
yeah, sure. As always, everybody stay healthy, stay safe, stay positive. Be grateful for what you have. And if you have a loved one out there that you haven't talked to in a long time, or regardless of where you guys are at, just make sure that you tell them that you love them because life's too short.
Mhm. Well, you didn't say my favorite part. You didn't say my favorite part. That's why I had the Coca Cola. I had
Not even
the.
regular coat. It's the cherry coat.
It's.
Oh my god.
But it's cherry cola. All right, guys. Like I'm gonna say it though. Stay hydrated with some cherry cola, guys. You guys, he's like get some water. All right, guys. All right, Hez. I will see you on Saturday, dude.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. Peace.